Do you know what was considered one of the greatest form of respect among Renaissance painters? At that time, it was like dedicating a book or writing a very, very, very long post on LinkedIn. It was the act of faithfully copying your master's painting. Imagine this nowadays. Tomorrow, you go to your boss and tell him or her that actually you've learned all of the creative solutions, management, strategies, and now you want to implement all of those things exactly the same into your own business. But they can be mad. It's because you respect them, right? Today, this idea feels strange, unacceptable, but the idea of transforming and recreating works of arts has changed all over the years. And perhaps nothing illustrates this better than a quote attributed to Picasso. Good artist copy, but great artist still. In our time, we tend to draw the clear line between inspiration and copying. But that line is still paper thin. And to demonstrate that, I would like to tell you a story of a young man who wanted to become a world-class basketball player. He did the usual stuff. He was training hard, eating well, resting well, but he did something else, something unusual. He watched all of the video clips of another great player, an icon of basketball and his own guru. And after careful study, he mastered and copied all of the movement of his master. And only after that, he added his own tricks and techniques. And in the result, he developed entirely new style of playing basketball. And guess what? This man also became a world-class basketball player. Because this history is about Kobe Bryant, who at first mirrored the style of playing basketball of Michael Jordan. You may say those are two different things, painting art and playing basketball. But this is the same pattern, because copying gives you skill, and skill gives you recognition. And recognition can lead you to fame, which can leave a great legacy. But let's go back to the law, because law sometimes desperately try to draw this very thin line between exploiting from someone and inspiring from someone. And I believe each country has its own legal and cultural approach of protecting intangible goods like intellectual property. I am Polish, so of course I am the most familiar with our approach, and I really believe it's fascinating because it seems like it's deeply, deeply connected with our history, a tragic history. Because imagine, you're a peasant in the 13th century. You live in a pretty village. You have your house, your farm, your animals. You have beautiful family. You live pretty good life even for a peasant person, right? But then one day, Tartar raids. Everything that you knew vanished in the single night. Your house is burned. Your animals are gone. Maybe someone you love was killed or raped. And another example, Second World War. You are upper middle class citizen of Warsaw. You have beautiful house, again, beautiful life. But then one day, German officer knocks onto your door and tell you that actually you have to move out today because there is really important German figure that's coming tomorrow to Warsaw, and your house is sehr schön, very nice, and it's a perfect place for a new officer and his family to stay in. So you're still quite lucky in this situation because they could deal with you in other way. So you pack your stuff. You're packing money, clothing, maybe small treasures that you can really easily sell. You pack nutrition, something that will help you survive. And it shouldn't be surprising that when your life depends on holding what's tangible, like money, treasures, your shelter, nutrition, maybe your family, protecting intangible, like ideas, songs, designs. It becomes secondary. And moreover, in Poland, our culture survived through sharing because many Polish people risked their life in order to preserve our culture, and they shared it underground behind the eyes of occupant. So sometimes in Poland, I feel like we tend to perceive intellectual property as something less serious, maybe more collective. And food is a great phenomenon of that. France has something like repas gastronomique de français. It's basically French way of eating. Order of meals, wine, cheese. And French thought that this is so important for them that they inscribe it on the UNESCO list of intangible heritage. And I mean, fair enough, it's really something special. It should be protected. But Poland, we have no food on UNESCO list. And yet, whenever I meet someone from abroad, 99% is they're gonna say something like this. Oh, yes, Poland, I ate their pierogi, żurek. It's best thing ever. I loved it. If this is not our cultural heritage, then what is? But history, besides generational trauma, gave us something else. A culture of improvisation. We even have a word for that. It's kombinowanie. Means finding a way around obstacles, sometimes by bending the rules, usually rules of law. And this resourcefulness, unfortunately, has a bad sides. In the 90s, it resulted in a pirated CDs and a fake brands on bazaar. But counterfeiting and piracy still exist in Poland. Whenever you visit touristic destination, like for example Zakopane, you will see plenty of Lafufu instead of Labubu and two-stripe Adidas pants in the small local shops. But this is not only a problem of Poland, Eastern European countries, or any specific region whatsoever. It's a global issue. In 2021, the so-called industry was estimated at nearly 100 billions of euro. This is almost 5% of EU import. So you can see the size of the so-called business. But what is more frightening, this market is often linked to organized crime. So this funny plush toy, fake Birkin, fake Rolex, that's just the tip of a criminal iceberg. But creative corporations sometimes fuel this problem. And here I will focus on the problem of piracy. Remember when first streaming platform entered the market? One subscription, great price, many movies in series in one place. People loved it. It was really convenient. But then other platforms saw that this is a great way of earning money, amazing business model. So now, if you want to watch all of your favorite series, movies, you have to own 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 subscription. It's ridiculous. And what is more problematic, some of those platforms are starting to develop much more and more strict policies towards their subscribers. So frustration grows and piracy returns. And many people try to justify piracy, saying something like, oh, it's not really stealing because I don't own anything, right? It's just license, subscription. I'm just borrowing it. But let's test that. Imagine that you take someone's bike. You know that this person has many bikes. You ride it to the store, do some shopping maybe, ride to the friend, visit them. And after that, you brought it back to the same place. It's untouched, perfect condition. That person didn't notice that you took it. But would we all agree that this is totally socially acceptable? That's totally fine? I doubt that. And also, what if we flip the perspective? What if the victim of this infringement, theft, isn't big corporation with billions, millions, but it's you? What if your design, your music, your code, your idea, that's what's being stolen? Because you never know when you or someone you love will create something extraordinary. And then you will want it to be respected. And yes, in Renaissance, respect meant mirroring works of your master. During occupation times in Poland, we had to share our culture in order to save it. But right now, respect means acknowledgement of ownership. Because today's artists and their work are much more accessible thanks to internet and social media. And this is great. But with this accessibility comes vulnerability for theft, copying, infringements like unfair competition. And we don't have to understand artists, understand their work, even like it. But in the area of technology, artificial intelligence, and algorithms, it's crucial. It's crucial to protect our creativity. Because this is one of the very, very, very few things that truly separate us from animals. How we can transform basic physiological needs into beautiful things, like how we transform nutrition into rituals full of comforting dishes. How we can change shelters, houses into magnificent architecture. How we can express through fashion, and the list goes on and on. This is what's helped us going through tough times. This is what make us human. Our ability to transform and to create. Thank you so much.